please take the roll.
Commissioner Vanderschaff.
Here.
Commissioner Schobel.
Here.
Commissioner Morrow.
Here.
Commissioner Mee.
Here.
Commissioner Hodgkinson.
Here.
President Kelly.
Here. Mike, I see we have a presentation tonight.
We do. Director of Planning and Capital Projects, Rob Sproul, would like to introduce our newest Eagle Scout partner.
With us tonight is Johan Van Nispen. He came to us about a half a year ago and wanted to do a project and was particular to Cosley Zoo. So after spending some time at the zoo, he had come up with some ideas, and we refined that to work hand in hand with some recent improvements that we did there. The Bobcat exhibit, as many of you may know, displaced the amphitheater, so the amphitheater new location needed some plantings around it. So this project created landscaped areas surrounding the amphitheater at Cosley Zoo. It was necessary to develop a design, solicit donations of plants from local nurseries, and organize volunteers to install the design. These plantings will be enjoyed by zoo visitors for many years to come. So, present you with this certificate and the appreciation of the park.
Can we get a picture with the park board president? Congratulations.
Community input. Has anybody signed up for community input?
No, sir.
Okay. Next item, the consent agenda. We need a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Any discussion? I just have one question, Mike. As part of the consent agenda, we have minutes from the June 19th meeting. And last month, we struck something from those minutes. It was the special meeting minutes from 6/3. Are those coming next month then?
Yes, they'll come next month. We have to tighten those up a little bit, and we have to add the reports that were provided from the two consultants that made the presentations on our bonding. And while you've asked, I don't know, I had asked Commissioner Vanderschaff if she had any input on the reports that were prepared, because she specifically asked for them, and I wanted to wait until we were done with that input.
Okay. All right, then,
But I'll follow up with Commissioner Vanderschaff, and we'll get them done in August.
okay. Mike, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hodgkinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Mee?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Schobel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanderschaff?
Yes.
President Kelly?
Yes. Second item, old business. First item, ordinance number 2013-03, authorizing the intergovernment agreement for the lease, construction, recreational use of synthetic turf fields between School District 200 and the Wheaton Park District.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Kim?
So I have said this before, but I feel as if this should be done on Park District property. I don't think we should be spending this amount of money to improve property we don't own. The second thing here is that the Park District is in the middle of planning for what may be some major changes to the district, and I think we should start to conserve some of our funding so that we can apply them toward future projects that we are planning.
Okay. Anybody else? Terry?
You know, we have so much programming in Graff Park, and we have for many years, between football and a lot of the other athletic events we have down there. I think that's a prudent move, and I'm hoping at some point in time that we can look at the Central Athletic Center fields, you know, for synthetic turf, but I think Graff Park is a good start.
Somebody else? Ray?
Yeah, I would agree with Terry. I think Graff Park is an ideal location for exactly what we're talking about doing. Our relationship, I think, with the school district is exceptional, and let's face it, it's a taxpayer's facility, whether it's the school district's or ours, and I think we all benefit from it. So I'm very much in support of this.
Anybody else? Okay, Mike,
John,
please.
may I make a comment?
Mike, yes.
I just, a point of clarification, approving this ordinance does not mandate that a field or fields will be built. It simply provides the environment between the school district and the park district for the project to be considered in the future once put to bid by this board. You will have the opportunity to approve hiring an engineer for this project, and at that point in time, a vote will be taken. You will have an opportunity, if that vote is successful, to vote on the bids that come in for the construction of the field. But I can't go down that road until we have the environment of the intergovernmental agreement to do it. So by no means does this action mandate a synthetic turf field will be put in at the cost that's been outlined.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, Mike, please take the roll.
Commissioner Hodgkinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Me?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Schobel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanderschaft?
No.
President Kelly.
President Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you, sorry.
Second item of old business, report on the Central Athletic Center update and approval of change orders. All the work that Bergen could do to date has been done. He has a little bit of paving left to do up in the handicap spaces in the front. No change orders have been issued to Bergen, since the last ones that were ratified by the board. He does have a claim in for some extra costs associated with some sidewalk work on the west side of the building that, as of right now, we're taking the position that that was in his contract. And no payments will be processed until the liens from his subcontractor that is no longer in business are taken care of. So it's going to be some time before we close that contract out. Bergen is waiting to allow the time period on the liens to see if some of them expire, and so it's just going to be a while before we have an update. There won't be any more change orders issued without us coming back to the board and explaining it to you. I think there is one open one, the last few items off the list that everybody saw, but this new stuff you haven't seen yet. And I guess it just came in today, Rob? Yes. When did you get the additional changes?
Just the one request we've added a little bit now.
Okay, and I haven't seen that one even yet, because I think that's for the work we're taking positions in the contract. So we'll give you another update each month as we go, but I don't think this is something that's gonna be resolved real quickly, and I don't think we'll be paying out any money for a while. All right, yeah, Terry?
Just a question, clarification, so did Holmes fold? And
Yes.
Auburn, Butler, and Patchwork were subs for that?
Suppliers, well, subs and suppliers,
Okay.
right, and Holmes declared bankruptcy, right? We got letters from the bankruptcy attorney?
That's
Right.
correct.
So we can't pay out any money till that gets resolved.
Will this result in additional costs to us?
No, because Bergen has a payment bond on the
Okay.
job too, so, nothing's been, his bonding company will be involved once these
Got it.
subcontractors start foreclosing on the liens. But right now, we've just received that there's notice of liens, which prompts us to not make payments until the stuff is all
Okay.
resolved.
Thank you.
Okay? Anybody else? Okay, old business item 3, Buildings and Grounds Subcommittee, Seven Gables Pathway Replacement Project. Update and action on agreement with the surety company.
There's a resolution number, that's the action if you want to read it.
Okay. Everybody got this in the board packet, right?
Correct. It's just not on the
So-
agenda listed that way.
Okay, so this is, what we're looking for tonight is for the board to approve resolution number 2013-07, which is a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a tender agreement with Western Surety Company for the performance of the asphalt project at Seven Gables. As you recall, we awarded a contract last year, and that contractor failed to perform. We made a request on that contractor's bonding company to complete the project. They've negotiated a price with another contractor, have agreed to pay the difference, plus have agreed to pay all legal fees. Tressler has drafted this resolution along with the surety company. We need to approve this resolution so that we can enter into the contract with the new contractor and get the project completed for the original bid price. The cost to us will be the original bid price.
Move to
So I
approve.
need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Kim?
If there are overruns from the new contractor, who pays that?
The surety company does. It's called out in there, that actually the contract that the surety company is holding with Evans and Sons, who will be doing the project. Their bid was $30,000 more, and you'll see we're getting the original base amount from the previous company plus the 30. So the contract, we're made whole for the whole contract that will hold with the new contractor.
But that only covers that will only cover the original scope. I would think, and we'd have to go back and talk to Tressler, but I think if we run into a different site condition or a bona fide extra, or we decide we want to make a change to the contract, so the work that the new company is performing is outside the original scope, we would be paying for that just like we would have with the original contract.
But it would be your decision to do so.
Right. All right, anybody else? Okay, Mike, please take the roll.
Commissioner Vanderschaff,
Yes.
Commissioner Schobel,
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow.
Yes.
Commissioner Me.
Yes.
Commissioner Hodgkinson.
Yes.
President Kelly.
Yes. New business, bid results and recommendations, Garden Park development at the southwest corner of Main Street and Roosevelt Road. We can start with a motion and then move to discussion.
Move to accept the proposal in alternate B from Great Lakes Landscaping Company in the amount of $249,881.10.
Second.
The Buildings and Grounds Subcommittee did not have a chance to meet on these bid results before today's meeting, but we had a conference call meeting, so we could discuss it, and I could throw some ideas out to you tonight. As you recall, we have a $200,000 line item in our budget for Gateway Gardens. So when we got the board packet, we went back to staff and said, how do we value engineer this project back down into the $200,000 range? We have a couple options. This is the first part of, correct me if I'm wrong, it's about an $800,000 total landscape. Pardon me, the second phase is what?
In the vicinity of 800,000.
So, we need to move forward with this project. Work will start probably around September 1st, and it's always been our goal to have the construction of the Gateway Gardens coincide with the grand opening of the Mariano, so that the whole site is kind of open at the same time. So we have a couple options tonight. We could approve the $249,000 amount, and then direct the Buildings and Grounds Subcommittee to meet with the contractor, come up with value engineering items, and present them to you at the August meeting. And then at the August meeting, you could decide whether we want to accept any of these alternates or whether we want to go with the full $844,000 project. I'm not recommending approval of the $5,000 add-on for acceleration at this time because A, we don't know Bradford's schedule, we don't know when the grand opening is, and staff made some assumptions and squeezed the project into a 4-week duration is what that extra bid was. And we may have 6 or 7 weeks to do this work. So I don't think we have time to delay the whole project. I think we need to get a contractor on board so that we can discuss price and cost-saving options with that contractor. Otherwise, we'd have to rebid the whole job. So my recommendation is that we approve the contract tonight, but before we sign the contract, we try to get some value engineering items out there. And then we let the board, we'll bring them to you as voluntary deducts, and then if you want to approve credits, you can. Otherwise, the contractor would get the $245,000 contract.
Your current motion, John, is for including the alternate for time.
Not the 5,000. I think we can add that alternate
What I'm
anytime.
saying is your current motion on the floor includes that alternate. So
Yeah, we would need a modification of the of the motion, but I'd like to have some more discussion and see where the rest of the board is on this, because this has all come up rather quickly. Kim?
So is that the email that you sent out today, Mike? There
That's
was-
correct.
Okay, and it discusses these alternates? Can you give us a high level?
The only alternate contemplated, which was read into the motion by Commissioner Me, was the $5,000 extra for expediting the project, which we don't want to authorize because this target of when we have access to the site is moving from Bradford. So we want to.
That's
we'll hold it-
not Kim's question.
No, my question is about the email you
The
sent
email that came
today.
out from the architect, from our landscape architect, offered 3 voluntary or value engineering alternates. The problem is, Those alternates weren't part of the bid package.
Okay,
So the estimated amount of those alternates is what the engineer happens to think they're worth based on the unit cost that was spelled out in the breakdown. But the contractor isn't obligated to do the work for that price because that's not a true unit cost contract. Those unit prices were provided for information only, correct, Rob? It did not read that work can be added or deducted at those unit costs.
With some language to that effect.
It is a unit cost that says we can add and deduct those items.
That's what it's listed as the purpose of those are.
Okay, so then then those numbers should be good if the engineer didn't make a mistake. But those numbers are coming from the engineer, and the only thing we have to approve those is those little sketches we got today. I think we need more time to figure out, do we want to spend the extra $49,000 and then worry about value engineering $50,000 out of the next phase, which is a bigger phase? You know, or do we want to try to approve that based on those little sketches tonight? I'd rather bring this back to you after we have a chance to talk about it, meet with the architects, ask them, you know, is this stuff we can add in-house? There's just way too many questions.
So you recommended table it?
No, I recommended that we hire the contractor for $249.
Okay.
And that will allow him to get started ordering some of the, we're not talking about changing the walkways and the paths, and he can get organized.
All right.
But then at the August meeting, which will be before he starts work, we can sit down and look at the planning deductions that the architect is proposing that could save us money to get the job back within budget.
Which would also.
Which we would then approve as a deductive change order at the August meeting if we wanted to reduce the scope of work so that we don't spend 200.
Which would also allow buildings and grounds, I think, to have more opportunity to look at these.
Well, I can't tell if these value engineering things are gonna make the project look worse